Call the March 18th, 2024 regular council meeting to order at 7 p.m. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with the city employee that was seriously injured here on Saturday. There's a lot of risk out doing some of these jobs, and they put their lives on the line every day so that we can have city services, and we appreciate all they do for us. And at that point, I need the roll call.
Myers.
Here.
DeShawn.
Here.
Shireman.
Here.
Moritz.
Here.
Sherrick.
Here.
Hickman.
Here.
Me.
Here.
You have the minutes from the March 5th, 2024 regular council meeting. Does anybody have any questions on those?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Granting permission for visitors to speak, we have a request from Audrey Morris. Is there an Audrey Morris out there in the audience? Okay. Any other people? Well, Mr. Dutray, I told him he could come up out there first.
You have me on there?
Are you Audrey Morris?
I'm Darla Lewis. I'm supposed to be on there.
It's not.
You have an agenda from me.
Where's Darla Lewis on here?
Well, I think that's okay, Darla. You'll still be able to speak.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to be on the agenda.
Okay.
So yes, after Mr. Dutray has
We usually, we
spoken,
put the
yes.
ones first, we let the ones come up first that have requested the time.
Okay.
But you can still speak. We'll just, Mr. Dutray here, I told him out there he
You
can
guys
come up.
called me and asked me to come here. Somebody from here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, we'll let you speak right after
Yeah.
Mr. Detroit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President and members of council. Kevin Detray, 1505 Edgewood Drive, Airport Manager. Just kind of wanted to bring you up to date, or maybe you haven't heard about it, but for the Eclipse, we're going to have an event at the airport. We're doing it by pre-registration for aircraft flying in. Thus far, we have 16 airplanes that have pre-registered to come in. The furthest is from Virginia, a lot of people from southern states, Tennessee, Kentucky. Probably the majority of the people are coming from the state up north that we have registered thus far. But we're hoping if the weather's good, as the forecast looks better and better, hopefully for the eclipse, we'll get more activity in. So we're going to have an event. Some people are coming in the night before. They're going to be able to camp by their airplanes. We have a couple cars so people can go into town and eat at restaurants. We have golf carts to shuttle them around the airport. We're able to secure some porta pots. The Air Explorer Squadron is going to provide on Monday, the 8th of the eclipse. In the morning, they're going to provide orange juice and coffee and donuts. And then for lunch, they're going to serve bratwurst and hot dogs and things like that. So we're just hoping it'll bring people in. They'll spend some of their money at local businesses and just kind of, keep things moving, let everybody know we have an airport, we're still here, and we're trying to do things. So I guess that's it. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Very good. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
All right. Okay, now,
Thank you. You guys had me scared there for a minute.
Well, I kinda got scared. Nobody told me about a request.
Well, I want to thank you, everyone. My name is Darla Lewis, and I would like to thank you for allowing me to attend this council meeting and for the opportunity to introduce a new program. I am coordinating for all of Crawford County, and the program is called the Trap, Neuter, Return for Stray Cats. Has anyone here heard of the overpopulation problem of cats in our community?
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yes. I've seen a lot of cats in
Yeah, okay. So, what is a cat, stray or feral? A stray cat, socialized cat, is friendly and accustomed to people. You may find stray socialized cats outdoors if they are lost, stray, abandoned, or if they are owned cats who are allowed to spend time both indoors and outdoors. These have at some time lived with people at some point. They may approach people, houses, porches, or cows, could be vocal with a meow or answer your voice, and they will be visible primarily during the daytime. A feral cat is not socialized or friendly and accustomed to people. They will not approach people, will likely hide from or avoid them altogether. They're unlikely to meow, beg, or purr, and they're more likely to be nocturnal, occasionally out during the day. So the community cat population. Some community cats are abandoned or lost pets. If those cats aren't spayed or neutered, they give birth to kittens, who also add to the outdoor cat population. Some owned cats may also be indoor-outdoor cats and can contribute to our stray and feral population. That means they're breeding and having kittens outdoors. And since female cats can become pregnant anywhere between 4 to 6 months of age, even kittens can start having kittens of their own. So what is Trap, Neuter, Return? It is a humane and effective approach to outdoor cat populations. Through TNR, that's Trap, Neuter, Return, they enter colonies of community cats. They are humanely trapped, spayed, or neutered, vaccinated for rabies, ear-tipped, and then returned to their outdoor homes. I will note that the name is very important. We are talking about Trap, Neuter, Return, which means that not trap, neuter, release, because these cats that are going to be spayed and neutered are going to be returned to the exact same neighborhood where they were living, and that is their home, and that's where they belong. So for those of you who do not know what an ear tip is, an ear tip is the universal symbol of a cat who has been spayed or neutered and vaccinated. Some of you may have heard of other identification methods like tattoos or ear nudging instead of ear tipping, but we recommend ear tips because they're easily identifiable from a distance and unmistakable. Ear tips spare previously spayed or neutered cats from being trapped, retrapped, transported, and operated on. We know they're already part of a TNR program. And ear tips are also visible proof for your neighbors that you are making progress towards improving the neighborhood for both cats and people. Now, how does Trap, Neuter, and Return work? So why I am so excited to talk about Trap, Neuter, and Return? Because it works for many reasons. First and foremost, TNR is effective. Research shows that TNR stabilizes outdoor cat populations. It improves the cats' lives, addresses community concerns, and helps cat and people coexist. It's important to remember that it's not just a few people doing TNR, it's mainstream. More and more individuals and municipalities are understanding that TNR is the humane and effective way to stabilize community cat populations. We have seen communities come together when TNR is implemented. TNR also improves the lives of the individual cats. Spaying and neutering eliminates the behaviors and stresses of the pregnancies and mating. In order to find and attract mates, cats may fight, yowl, and spray. These behaviors are pretty stressful for the cats, not to mention your neighbors. Additional benefits of TNR is that fewer residents' complaints due to the virtual elimination of nuisance behaviors associated with mating. Sterilized feral cats also tend to roam less. Fewer public health concerns because cats are vaccinated. Reduced shelter intake of cats and kittens. 80% of all kittens are produced by unsterilized community cats. There's improved welfare of cats living outdoors because they are fixed and vaccinated. Elimination of the perpetual spending of limited public funds on trap and euthanize efforts or enforcement of feeding bans. TNR is a community benefit, and neighbors and cats can coexist more peacefully. Now, what has been done so far to implement this program? I first started out taking surveys through Facebook as to see how many people feel that we could benefit from this program. I have received names, addresses, and how many stray cats are in those reported neighborhoods throughout all of Crawford County. Local veterinarians have been contacted for the spay-neuter process. I have already received many people who would like to help with this program, including trapping. I set up an email for the TNR project and have advertised now on social media pages. I don't know if any of you saw the article in the Crawford County Now, but it was there. So news articles announcing the program. I also set up a spreadsheet to account for the numbers and locations of stray and feral cats in Crawford County. I just started collecting this data a week and a half ago. So when I tell you these numbers, I think you're going to be amazed. But please keep in mind that these numbers could be overlapping, as I have not yet set them up on a map. But I will be doing that in the very near future. So, in Broken Sword, I have 10. Bucyrus, 437. Chatfield, 22. Crestline, 145. Galleon, 166. Nevada, 20. New Washington, 78. Sulphur Springs, 11. That is a total of 889 stray cats. Now, however, without a TNR program, these numbers will climb significantly. In fact, that 189 cats could be multiplied by 6, because a non-spayed female cat that lives outdoors can have up to more than 4 litters per year. The average lifespan of a feral cat is 7 years. So, 889 reported cats so far in Crawford County could possibly expand to 5,334. So, why am I approaching the City Council? I am asking the council for your support and the communities. I'm asking for permission from the council for property entrance for trap, neuter, and return program on city properties. I am also asking for possible changes to the city ordinance chapter 505 to specifically add in stray feral cats, or to create a new city ordinance for the stray feral cat population. And I want to thank you for your opportunity again, and I need to know if there are any questions.
First, I wish you would have came to us 2 months ago, because we've had stray cats on our open projects for a while, and we just took it off of our open projects. So we're going to have to put this back into open projects and
Okay.
health and safety and possibly public lands and buildings. for the city property aspect of it that you just mentioned. But is there any questions from the council members at this time?
What do you want, what do you need from us?
I need your approval so that I will be able to go onto city properties, and that will eliminate me from having to go house to house and ask a person for permission to set a trap on their land.
So you're asking our permission to let you go on private property or on city-owned property?
Well, city-owned. It would be also, okay, I have a lot of people already reported, say, on Reed Street.
We can't give you permission to go on private property. You have to do that from that landowner.
Okay, so I would have to go to the homeowners. That's fine, because the people that will be helping me trap will also be doing that. Yes. Anybody out here?
Sorry.
Oh,
I was looking up 505.
anybody out here? Was anybody astounded by the number of cats that I
Well, I
reported?
see them around and there must be a lot because I don't have any mice.
Yeah. That's very true.
I'd like to say something to Darla. I know Darla, and if anybody can do this project, it would be Darla.
I don't know if any of you are familiar, I'm not going to ring my own bell, but I'm going to ring my own bell.
Do it.
In 2012, I started with Chief Kepke, the Bucyrus Neighborhood Watch.
Yes.
So I am the one that knows, I know my organizational skills, I know people to contact. I am on the 27th meeting with the Community Foundation. And during that meeting, I am also going to be meeting with another group called Four Leaf Rovers that is here in Galleon. They also are setting up a TNR. So I'm hoping that our TNR program could also kind of be affiliated with them, and we can get this population under control.
Well, Carolyn, would you like to make a motion to put this stray cat issue in this health and safety?
I would
and
certainly
public
like
lands
to
and
make a
buildings?
motion to put this TNR stray cat into,
Health and safety and public lands and buildings.
okay, health and safety in public lands and buildings.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
All
I really
opposed?
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hopefully we can see you back again and you can discuss this in even more detail.
Oh, believe me, I'll be back because I have a long way to go yet.
Thursday meetings are, Thursday after the council meetings are committee meetings, so.
Okay, yes, I think I
They're
remember
6
that.
A
PM.
really quick question for you.
Yes.
Everybody's dying to know, where do you get your funding?
We will be asking for sponsorships and for donations. But the Community Foundation will be handling all of that. Yes. My idea is that I would like to contact businesses once we're ready to start trap and neutering,
Well,
because
can we bring
limited,
this up in detail on Thursday?
sure.
'Cause we're way over
Yeah.
on time here. for-
See, I'm over on time. Well, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Did you want me to come back Thursday?
Please,
Okay, what time?
6 PM.
6 p.m.
Yep.
Here?
Yep.
Okay, I'll be
All right.
here.
Okay, still under public participation, Mr. Ernstberg, did you want to come up?
My name is John Ernsberger, City of Bucyrus, Water Distribution Foreman. What I'd like to talk about tonight is, I've already talked to the administration about this, about having some sort of town hall meeting somewhere, something where people can be educated about the boil advisory situation. It's been about the last few months. If you have a Facebook account, I'm sure you've seen it. People bad-mouthing the water department, the city, about all the boil advisories. There was a lady a few weeks ago that said on Facebook, fire all water department employees. Well, if you do that, who's going to fix these leaks? What we do is not, it's not my favorite thing to do is to be out in 30 below weather playing in mud in a hole in the ground. That's not what we like to do. It's not our favorite thing to do, but it's not really bothered me, but typically I just let it go in one ear and out the other. But Saturday, some of you probably know that we had an incident. It kind of hit home for me. It really did. It became personal. And somebody put a rolling eye emoji or something on Facebook. And at first I thought about letting it go and I couldn't, so I mentioned it. I just didn't want the trash talking. I didn't want the negative vibes out there. So I got to thinking that I need to educate people on the boil advisories, why we do it. Yes, I do realize that we've had a lot of boil advisories lately. It's not all because of the age of the system. Some of it's because of Omnifiber. I'm not going to go there, but some of it is because of that situation. And then the Crawford County Art Center posted on this weekend about the incident, or about the boil advisory, and they asked me if it'd be possible to post a map where and when the next boil advisory would take place. And I had to really think and process about that for a minute and I told him, I said, we don't know that. It's a crapshoot. We don't know when it's going to happen. We don't know where it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. And that really got me thinking that people really, truly need to be educated on how the boil advisory. It's not how the boil advisories come about. It's just not something I throw out there on Facebook and because I get giggles out of it. We do it for a reason. There's a specific reason we do it is because of the EPA and because of public safety and health. So that's all I wanted to do is just bring it to City Council, and I'd like to set something up where I can educate the citizens, whether it be through a town hall meeting type of situation or just something where I can educate people. So that's all I have.
But the boil advisories are not due to the new plant. I seen that on Facebook too. People thought that the new plant wasn't as good as the old plant, so that's why we had boil advisories.
Correct.
There's so much stuff on there.
The plant has nothing to do with the
Right,
boil advisory.
right. And yes, Mr. Myers.
I'd suggest we do it on a service committee meeting unless you want to have a separate standalone meeting. That way we're all already here and that gives you the chance to speak more freely and let the community know that you're here to answer their questions. And then the other thing is there anything that we as a council or the service committee and then as a council could do or that you need to do any differently? Like you're discovering, through the Omnifiber thing, you're obviously finding more breaks. Is there more infrastructure work that we need to do that you maybe didn't think about up until this point that we need to take action on? Is the other reason I suggest maybe doing it at a committee meeting.
Okay, yeah, I don't have, however you want it,
You can come to a committee meeting anytime and talk about it, because it's not, as long as it's nothing we need a piece of legislation for,
okay.
it doesn't even need referred.
No, I'm just wanting to educate the citizens and the public and why we do it and how we do it and the different steps that are taken to make that call, whether we do issue a boil advisory or not.
Mr. President?
Yes.
If I'm understanding Mr. Ernstberger, I mean, I know what Kevin says, coming to a service committee meeting, and that's fine. But I'm thinking when we do that, we need to really publicize this so that people know that Mr. Ernstberger is going to be coming and doing his talk. And I don't think this Thursday is the service committee to do it. I don't think that's enough time unless you're thinking that you want to do it quickly.
I didn't know how quickly I could do it. I didn't know what the plans were. It's just something that I've been wanting to do. And the time hasn't really approached me until it really hit home this weekend, so.
Let me ask you this question. Do you feel you would be ready for this Thursday to do your presentation?
This Thursday, I probably wouldn't.
Okay, so
2 Thursdays from now?
Yeah, 2 Thursdays from now.
great. Then
Just get a hold of Miranda a couple days before that committee meeting and she'll put it on there.
Oh, no, not a couple days before.
Yeah.
We want
Oh, you want?
the
Publicize it now.
public to be,
Why don't we just put it on the
It'd be-
agenda?
We're gonna have to put it on the agenda now.
April 4th.
There you go.
but Miranda could also on our Facebook page do a little blurb that, you know, there's going to be this presentation given.
We could do it on the city's Facebook page
Yeah.
as well as the
We could
utility
put a press
departments.
release out that it'll be discussed, and hopefully the newspaper in the Crawford County Now would put it out there. I don't know if they would do that or not. Depends on,
Okay.
we can't force them to put it out there.
So that's okay then with you, John?
That'd be April 4th.
Okay.
Some of the things might be brought up is like how the water system works. Does it dead end or is it a continuous loop? How long is the advisory typically out for? That kind of stuff, instead of just putting the advisory out there, let people know typically how long it's supposed to be, 24 hours.
Right.
That 24 hours is more than enough time because we do circulate the water all the way through and nothing deadheads into it. So it goes right back to the plant, gets filtered right back out. So your water's good again, the pipes are coated. So it stops rust from happening and stuff from getting into your water anyway. So that's some other stuff you could be bringing up in that meeting too.
Yeah,
Great. Okay,
thank you very much.
thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Any other public participation?
Jeremy Gillum, Bucyrus Firefighters, IFF President, Local 1120. I know big hot discussion here lately has been the repeal of the ordinance. We have been having ongoing meetings with the administration since February 14th. We've had 6 or 7 meetings now, and I'm happy to say we have met an agreement that is suitable for all parties. The administration, law director is at the last one, chief in the union. It was our understanding that with signing this MOU that the ordinance repeal would be tabled indefinitely. Also had a meeting with Ms. Vicki DeShawn that I feel went really well. I think she gave you guys information that we have given to her for you guys to look over and go through. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me or stop in the fire department or ask the questions. We'd rather get the questions answered that, you know, that are asked than having to come back here and, you know, discuss things in front of the public and council and everything. So I'm happy moving forward with what we have reached, and we also want to offer our condolences and thoughts and prayers to the city worker that was injured. Any questions right now? No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public participation? No more public participation, so we will move on to the next thing, which is communications and petitions, and we have a letter from the Crawford County Commissioners. Which I will read. Dear elected officials, the Policy Committee for the Crawford County Solid Waste Management District adopted a resolution proposing to amend the budget for the district's solid waste management plan, and then in parentheses, the plan. The reasons for amending the budget are: 1, the transition of the operation and management of the district's recycling program and county recycling center to Rumpke Waste Services has significantly reduced the district's cost to provide drop-off recycling services for Crawford County's residents. And 2, due to the transition of the recycling program and recycling center, the district needs to construct a new administration building. The amended budget allocates $600,000 in 2024 and $600,000 in 2025 for the construction of an administration building. Attached is a copy of the Policy Committee's resolution approving the proposed budget amendment and a copy of the proposed amendment budget, which, if ratified, will replace the current budget, in parentheses, summary of district revenues and expenditures set forth on Table 8, page 8-20 of the district's solid waste management plan approved by the Director of Ohio EPA on October 21, 2022, pursuant to Section 3734.56 E, the policy committee respectfully requests that within 60 days following delivery of this letter, each city or village council or board of trustees of the municipal corporations and townships in the district and the board of county commissioners adopt an ordinance or resolution approving or disapproving the policy committee's proposed budget amendment and deliver a copy of the ordinance or resolution to the policy committee. And then he says, please email your resolution or ordinance approving or disapproving the proposed budget to Mr. Rockwell, who's the executive director of the Crawford County Solid Waste Management District. The policy committee will hold a public hearing on the proposed budget amendment on March 20th, 2024 at 3 p.m., which that's coming up here. Wednesday, in the lower level conference room located at the Crawford County Courthouse. Members of the public are invited to attend. The policy committee's resolution proposing to amend the budget and proposed budget amendment may be viewed online at the following link to the district's website, which is crawfordcountysolidwaste.com. In addition, the district's final approved solid waste management plan may be viewed at the following link, crawfordcountysolidwaste.com/solid-waste-management-plan. Please contact me if you have any questions regarding the ratification process or the solid waste plan budget amendment. Thank you for your assistance in this process. Sincerely, Brian Rockwell, Executive Director. And this was CC'd to Ann M. Vogel, Director of Ohio EPA. Okay, so we have the attached plan and resolution. Yes, Mr. Law Director.
So I prepared a resolution that council could theoretically consider, which would adopt that plan. And basically they're transitioning out of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're transitioning out of Rumpke handling their recycling or the county's recycling, anticipating building a building that would house our recycling as well as the title department out by the current family farm and home in that lot that the county owns. And so what they have done to their budget is just transfer numbers to put money in their budget to build that building at a cost of approximately $1.2 million. So in an effort to either approve or deny by that Wednesday meeting, I have put that, and if the council so desires, we could move forward with approving or disapproving that. But anyways, that's sort of what they're doing and why I had prepared that resolution where we would approve their proposed budget, but that's all I have.
And this has to be passed before the Wednesday meeting?
Yes. Right.
Which resolution is it here?
215.
215?
Mr. President,
Yes.
do we know where they're transferring these funds from? Like, this is a rather large amount.
County money doesn't.
So they get,
I still would want to
they
know as
get,
a member of the county.
yes.
Brian Rockwell has actually saved this money through his recycling effort. These are funds that Brian Rockwell put aside himself and has been saving to build this building of his own. That way he's able to move the building away from Rumpke and have his own separate location.
That makes sense.
So I'm fine with doing the whole waiving of the 111.0, it's 08, Vicki, I think. And then bringing forth a piece of legislation. We can do that later in the meeting, though. We
As a
don't have to do it
resolution,
right
yes.
now. What's that?
As a resolution.
Yeah, yeah.
Please waive 111.14.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, there's no cheat sheet for her here.
I have my cheat sheet here now.
Yeah.
You got yours, Vicki?
111.14.
Okay, so moving on, I have one more letter, communication and petition here. Mr. Greg White, and I was really hoping he was here because I was going to have him come up and read his letter because I don't, yeah, I'll read it here. Greg White, 1125 Hillcrest Drive, Bucyrus, Ohio, 44820. This is dated March 14th, 2024, Bucyrus City elected officials. Dear elected officials, it has come to my attention by several members of our community that our elected officials of Bucyrus City Council that have committed or are about to commit or are going to commit Ohio ethics violations. At the last committee meetings during health and safety, Mr. Myers asked the law director to look into ethic language about some issues with the conflict of interest involving matters with pending topics with city council members, ordinance and/or contracts. I would like to inform the citizens of Bucyrus that if you know of any such violations or possible ethics issues of our elected officials, you can go to the Ohio Ethics Commission webpage or call 614-466-7090 for more information on these matters. With that said, I know that all elected officials and employees who serve the city of Bucyrus, in parentheses, a public agency, must given a copy of the Ohio ethics law to these individuals by ORC 102.09D, and that all elected officials shall file a financial disclosure statement under ORC 102.02. This statement is public record under ORC 102.02A, and anyone can make a public records request with the commission for that statement. The Ohio ethics law is to keep our elected officials within what they can do and what they can't do. The outlined classes have given me the tools that I needed to better understand this law and what to do if there is a violation. I know that the law director will come up with some legal mumbo jumbo about this or try to explain the legality of this matter, but it is very simple. If you question anything about something, don't take part in it. The penalties have fines, jail time, both, and in some cases removal from office for a period of time. Some key factors of the law that you might to look at: revolving door law, post-employment law. ORC 102.03 prohibits a current or former public official or employee from representing any person before any public agency on matters in which the official or employee personally participated. This includes whether you didn't receive compensation, represent any formal or informal appearance before any written or oral communication with any public agency, personal participation, any decision, approval, disapproval, recommendation, rendering of advice, investigation, or other substantial exercise of administration discretion. Compensation means money, anything for value or financial benefit. Anything in value includes any money, goods, checks, real estate, interest, the promise of future employment, and every other thing of value. Another section of the Ohio ethics law is use of position to secure benefit, ORC 102.03D. The conflict of interest law prohibits a public official or employee from using or authorizing the use of his or her public position to get benefit for the official or employee or for anyone else with whom he or she is closely connected. The law also prohibits the official or employee from using his or her public position to avoid a detriment for the official or closely connected person. This means that a public official or employee cannot act on a matter before his or her public agency if the matter definitely and directly affects the official or employee, one of the officials or employee's close family members, or one of the officials or employee's business associates that has an interest. In contacting the Ohio Ethics Commission for more information, talking with someone, they do not take any violations lightly. I was informed that an allegation can be made on any public official or employee of any public agency within the state of Ohio. It would be investigated by this commission. I also appreciate their time in understanding the law, how to navigate their website, and the online classes that anyone can take. In closing, I hope that you, our City of Bucyrus elected officials, could have committed or have not committed anything to compromise your position on this city council. It has been said within the council chambers before that no one is above the law. I truly believe that statement because our government shall be held to the highest standard of all laws, and that includes our elected officials. Thank you for your time. Respectfully submitted, Greg White.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I have a comment to make to Mr. White's letter. Paragraph 2, he states, "At the last committee meetings during the health and safety, Mr. Myers asked the law director to look into the ethic language about some issues with the conflict of interest involving matters with pending topics with city council members, ordinances, and/or contracts." At no time did Mr. Myers ask for the law director to look into that. And if I may, I'm going to coin one of Mr. White's phrases, which is, "The video of the committee meeting speaks for itself on this matter." Thank you.
Okay. Need a motion to accept the communications and petitions and file them.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Standing committee reports, plating committee, Mr. Me.
Last time we talked about having businesses out of your home, or home businesses. Mr. Gurn came up with a great idea about having them out of the, go through the BZA. That way we can keep an eye on them. Are we any closer to an amendment?
Yes, so that just has to be, we have to schedule a planning commission meeting to talk about that.
Right, so the proposed amendment goes to the Planning Commission, 1145.02. 1145.04, Planning Commission gives the recommendations to council. Council refers the proposed amendment to the Plating Committee. Plating Committee holds the meetings, set a public hearing date of the amendment. After the public hearing, the proposed amendment must receive 3/4 approved of the full council. And that's 1145.06. After the 30 days provided, there is no petition to the city auditor for the ballot and Senate amendment becomes law. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
It says 3/4. 3/4 of 7 is 5.25.
6.
Is it 6?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You have to get over 75%.
Okay.
For a zoning change?
I think, I, off the top of my head, isn't that the 3/4 if we don't agree with the planning commission or council doesn't agree with the planning commission?
All I can do is read it again. After the public hearing, the proposed amendment must receive 3/4 approval of the full council.
I'll have to look at it, but yeah,
Okay.
it's probably correct. So yes, 3/4 of council would have to approve zoning changes because it's one of those areas where you don't want to change its stuff all of the time.
Okay.
But yeah, no, the first step is then I'll get the document put together and get it to the planning commission so that they can meet and make a recommendation as far as that goes.
Okay. You're going to put some kind of amendment together then?
Yeah, so the actual language that we would put in the ordinance that basically says without a valid variance or without, you can't have home occupations without a variance granted by the Board of Zoning Appeals. That's what we were trying to change. And so we'll send that change in the ordinance, give it to the Planning Commission, and then from there they can have a hearing on that, and
Okay.
hopefully they approve that and then send it back.
That's speeded up.
Speed it up.
Well, the reason it's so slow is because the state law says it has to be this way because zoning is considered.
Well, that speed up the conversation because it's probably not proper to have it right here.
Now, we did find out at the OML conference that if we go to a charter city, we could speed up some of the zoning.
We could.
Just saying what we heard. Does anybody have any questions for the plating chair?
I'm done.
Public lands and buildings?
I have nothing to report on at this time.
Anybody have any questions for public lands and buildings? Hearing none. Health and safety chair?
Health and Safety Committee meeting met March the 7th. We approved the street closures for Cruising with the Cops Custom and Classic Car Show scheduled for Saturday, June 8th, 2024, and requested non-emergency legislation for presentation at tonight's council meeting. We also approved the 5-0 Bike Show scheduled for Saturday, July 27th, 2024, and requested non-emergency legislation for presentation at tonight's council meeting. And finally, we discussed Bucyrus Codified Ordinance 189.22, which is the penalty fee for tenant roster, which at that time, at the request of Councilperson Myers and approved by committee, it was put on hold until we can get more information and come up with a plan to make sure that we are gathering the information that the Income Tax Department wants and needs to know, but doing it in a fair and equitable manner to all of our residents.
Anybody have any questions for the Health and Safety Committee?
Didn't we also bring up something about maybe putting all those small, like the Bratwurst Festival and the, thank you, Bratwurst Festival Car Show, Bike Show, into one ordinance that we're not paying $200 different for each one? Did we discuss also maybe trying to do something like that too?
It was suggested that the law director was going to look into whether that was feasible or not. And I think more than putting it into one piece of legislation, I think Mr. Myers was asking if we could just either do away with the legislation and just have it done by permit, like, you know, a parade permit, what have you, or if we did legislation, it would be a piece that just states it's ongoing. It's a permanent. They can just have it every year. But again, that was something that,
Definitely money saver right there, big time.
Yeah.
well, we did do some money saving for tonight, I do believe. We've made the captions on both of our pieces of legislation shorter and put a lot of the extra language into whereas clauses, so that's not published in the newspaper. So we've attempted to save some money with that.
So don't they charge by the word we got in there?
You would have to ask
By the
Miranda
inch.
that. I do not know.
By the column inch.
The column inch. Okay, any other questions for health and safety? Moving on, finance, Mr. Myers.
I have nothing to report.
Anybody have questions for finance? Seeing none, economic development, Mr. Hickman.
I had attended the State of the Vision 2024 with the administration, and will reiterate that the county is doing very well in terms of economic development. And to touch back on a point that I made last council meeting, we are not 3% in the state, we are 3% in the country. So we are doing very, very well. Other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions for economic development? Seeing none, service committee, Mr. Moritz.
Everything I was going to bring up has already been brought up, so I don't have anything to report this time either.
Anybody have any questions for service? Seeing none, the special ad hoc committee, Mrs. DeShawn.
The Special Ad Hoc Committee for Rules of Procedure for Bucyrus City Council and Bucyrus Codified Ordinance Chapters 111 and 113 met March 7th. We approved several changes to the Rules of Procedure for Bucyrus City Council, and these rules will be presented at tonight's council meeting for, hopefully, voice approval. We also discussed changes to Bucyrus Codified Ordinance Chapter 111. That matter was put on hold until the law director has researched other councils on how they address the matter. So with that being said, I am requesting at this time the removal of ordinance number 11-2024 from tonight's agenda and requesting that it be referred back to the ad hoc committee for further discussion and possible amendment. It's on its second, it's scheduled for its second reading, but I'm asking for it to be pulled.
I'll second Mrs. DeShawn's motion.
11-2024 to remove it from the agenda and send it back to committee. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
And, Mr. President, if I may ask, Mr. Gernert, do you know when you'll have information available? I'm just needing to know that for when I need to schedule our next ad hoc committee meeting. I didn't know if it was something you'd be ready for this Thursday or, okay. So with that being said, if it's okay with our ad hoc committee, if we can have a special ad hoc committee meeting this Thursday, which is what, date? 21st, after the regular scheduled committee meetings to discuss.
We don't have to have a vote on that as full council, right? You just schedule it. Okay, so that'll be
And
scheduled.
is the committee members okay with?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, great, and then I'll get with Miranda on her announcement to put in the,
Anybody have any questions for the
Thank you.
special ad hoc? Seeing none, Traffic Commission, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Mayor's report.
Microphone.
Okay. Always forget that thing.
You have to name the traffic commission.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Traffic Commission.
I do not have anything for traffic committee. No, I
Any
don't.
questions for Traffic Commission? Okay, sorry about that. You can go ahead with the mayor's report.
Okay.
Well, hold on a second. We need a motion to accept the committee reports.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now it's the mayor's report.
Okay. The administration would like to ask the citizens to help the water department fulfill the EPA mandate by returning their paperwork as to what material makeup of their incoming water line feeding their residency is made of. For example, copper, iron, plastic, or lead. The mailing from the water department should arrive in the next couple of weeks. The administration met with Jeff Panovich from the Bucyrus Tree Board. We had a very productive meeting and look forward to working with Jeff and the tree board going forward. The administration met with Jim Shaw, Regional Director of the Ohio Attorney General's Office. The Attorney General's Office urges newly elected officials to participate in the online training portal that provides elected officials with tools and resources for success. The law director is currently in the process of drawing up bonding requirements of $1 million for Brightspeed. And the next one is the water department recently fixed a major water line on the southwest side of the square. This water line has been a source of continued water line breaks for past years. Jeff Dunn has recently contacted McKeever and Associates for cost estimates to replace the water line prior to the Sandusky Avenue reconstruction that is being done by the state of Ohio in the future. As part of this project, this past Saturday, when we had a water line break on West Mansfield Street, John Ernsberger can expand on it, but he had explained to me that the water line out starting at Dow Concrete is a 12-inch cast iron water line, and it's the same water line that continues to break at the square currently, if I'm not correct?
Same materials, 8-inch
Okay,
on, it's 12 at the square, it's 8 on West Mansfield where we repaired it.
thank you. The city of Bucyrus was recently contacted by the state of Ohio informing us of future obligations of the Sandusky Avenue reconstruction to be done in the year 2026. The state of Ohio has stated the city of Bucyrus is responsible for all the sidewalk approaches from the Southern Corporation line on Sandusky Avenue to Perry Avenue on North Sandusky Avenue. These approaches must be completed prior to the reconstruction according to the state of Ohio. The city of Bucyrus' share of sidewalk approaches is upwards of a cost of $1 million. This reconstruction must be done over multiple years, starting in 2024 to meet the state of Ohio's timeline deadline. And as part of this is that we actually have to do it ourselves. If we don't meet their deadline, then we're going to be responsible from there on out, taking care of the reconstruction and blacktopping of Sandusky Avenue. So it's imperative that we get ahead of them and make sure that we keep the state of Ohio happy. So from going forward, that they will continue to redo the state highway going forward.
Is the approaches able to be paid out of street levy?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Myers?
Is this only the ones that haven't been done? They're not asking us to redo everything downtown yet, are they?
What they're doing right now is we're going to go ahead and have McKeever and Associates start right away here in the next couple weeks. And what they have to do is they have to go back in and they actually have to take measurements and percentages of each crosswalk to make sure that the crosswalks are a certain percentage height-wise to satisfy the state of Ohio. So some of them that's already been done might have to be redone again to new specifications for handicap to make sure that they're under a certain percentage. They would like to have them more flat than steep. So that's why we have to re-examine every crosswalk.
It's just Sandusky Avenue?
Yes.
Okay.
How far now, does it say how far
City
south?
limits south all the way up to Perry Street.
Yeah, it should be Perry Street instead of Perry Avenue. But
Is there any way to get grant money for this? To help us with the sidewalks?
I have no idea. I mean,
I'd say we could probably ask Jennifer Jeanette to look at
Right.
it.
So going back to the water line, are you talking about replacing that water line from all the way underneath the river? Because that goes underneath the river, correct?
Well, one reason I bring it up is it just to let you know that the water line, the cast iron water line, according to John, it's over 100 years old. That just goes back to the idea that instead of spending the money outside and putting a loop to Sulphur Springs and spending that $1.2 million on making that loop where we also have to have an additional pumping station from Beech Grove Road to Sulphur, it's in our best interest to take care of our aging water lines inside the city. So we're going to have to tap into that money that we went ahead and made a commitment that we will not spend that money outside. We got to take care of what we have. And so going forward here shortly, we will be, well, John will be, not me, but John will be going and looking to put a new water line in on the square, and to my lay position, that I guess the water pressure was so great that it actually not only pushed the blacktop up, but also split the layers of the blacktop on the square, so that's why it's got a big hump in it, and hopefully we'll get that done, I suspect probably before the festival, I hope.
I would hope so.
Okay.
What, re-blacktop in that repaired spot, or?
Yes.
But you're not talking about redoing the line all the way up to the concrete place yet?
No.
No, not at this time.
Okay.
Question about the Brightspeed bonding. They currently don't have anything in place, correct? And we had suggested maybe putting a stop work order on them. Was that considered, or?
Well, we didn't do that to Omni Fiber. We gave them.
I get that. The
We
reason
gave them 2 weeks. Well, the nice part about Brightspeed is they are predominantly overhead. They share the power poles with American Electric
The reason
Power.
I bring this up, these are the guys that are doing the work, like you said, above head. I've personally, in the last 2 weeks, watched them. They're driving down the street with a guy with the bucket sticking out sideways, and all of the overhead wires that they're doing. I've seen a couple times they've dropped them on top of people's cars as they're doing it. So I'm gonna ask you again to maybe consider putting a stop work order on them until they have the proper bonding in place, because sooner or later, they're going to screw something up for one of our residents.
And I will agree to that. That's fine.
The Brightspeed, they were issued a permit way long ago, last year, weren't they? They had submitted plans for the entire city, and those plans were approved like in the summertime or fall by past administration, and then, so they didn't need to do anything with getting another permit, whereas Omni was like staggering their permits and only applying for so many blocks of the town at the time, and so I guess that's how we were able to get the $1 million bond for the one so quickly.
I mean, I'm guessing that wire's not super lightweight.
So I actually stopped and talked to one of the guys in the bucket, and they're initially only putting a little tiny wire, and he called it the drop, that's gonna go from like a distribution case to the house, and then he said he said another crew's gonna come in and they're gonna put the big main line down. So it sounds like the main line isn't even being put up right now.
Well, like the stuff they're doing now, they put up little pulleys along the way, and they're working on Oakwood tonight when I was leaving to come here from Kaler all the way down to Spring, so, I mean, 3 blocks worth.
Yeah, there's not really much we can do except maybe, I mean, the administration can control a lot with the permitting process.
Well, that's your wishes. That would be fine. I mean, maybe we can meet with Brian tomorrow and see what we can get done.
Mhm.
I appreciate you bringing it up to me.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, any other questions for the mayor?
Yes. Concerning the Mount Vernon project, I was certified Saturday as I completed all the courses.
Any other questions for the mayor? There's no service director's report, so auditor's report.
As the public is aware, the City of Bucyrus had a meeting with the Local Government Services LGS branch of the Auditor of State's Office, AOS, in response to the letter sent by administration. I apologize that we were not ready to discuss the meeting at last council. It had occurred the same day, and I believe Ms. DeShawn and I wanted to have our facts straight before disseminating information to the public. LGS informed us the city would fall under neither fiscal watch nor fiscal emergency. There is the possibility that we could fall under fiscal caution. There are multiple ways the city can fall under fiscal caution. The city would only possibly qualify for one. The following are ways in which the city does not qualify for fiscal caution. The AOS declares the city unauditable. AOS identifies significant deficiencies or material weaknesses over accounting and financial reporting functions. Deficient fund balance exists at year end in the general fund or another that is greater than 2% of the fund's revenue for that year. When a city has not reconciled its accounting journals or ledgers with the Treasury Bank for more than 3 months. Ways in which the city may qualify for fiscal caution, and it's only one. when a low year-end carryover balance exists in the general fund such that the balance is equal to or less than an amount representing 1 month of expenditures based on 1/12 of prior year expenditures, and/or when a low year-end carryover balance exists in any other fund such as the balance is equal to or less than an amount representing 1 month of expenditures based on 1/12 of prior year-end expenditures, and there are not sufficient resources in the general fund that may be transferred or in any other fund that may lawfully transfer resources to subsidize that fund. And that was taken from the AOS website. Local government services did have some suggestions which may help the city relieve some of its stressors. When the original 0.5% safety forces levy was created, expenses for the police and fire were split between the general fund and safety forces levy. To relieve stress on the general fund, LGS suggested that all safety forces expenses, including personal services, be fully transferred to the safety forces fund. Then the city would only be supplementing that fund from the general fund through needed transfers. I have already instructed payroll to move all safety forces employees to be paid from Fund 202 starting in April. I am currently pulling information for our 2023 audit for both AOS and our third-party audit, but before next council meeting, I plan on having a 3 to 5 year projection of the effects those changes will have on both Funds 101 and 202. With retirements and equipment replacement in those departments, there is still a real chance that the city may have to cut expenses or figure a way to increase revenue. Once again, those options are an additional safety levy, reduce the budget, reduce out-of-town workers' credit. The AOS did press that Bucyrus should try not to allow itself to go into a state of fiscal distress, that if there are indicators of issues, the city should try to correct course in a timely manner versus wait until things worsen. Whew, all that to say, as far as referrals go, I would like to refer to Finance Committee. Transfers totaling $45,000 for water filtration contractual services, appropriations of $105,000 to water distribution contractual services. Thank you for your patience, John. And appropriations for engineer tech personal services within the general fund.
Need a motion for those referrals?
Second.
Aaron, was that you first? Aaron, then Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Yeah, I want to comment on the meeting we had with the state auditor. So what you were referring to is the way our current trial balance and all the expenditures for police and fire, there's like so many police and fire that are paid for out of the safety levy money, but it's not enough, so we just straight pay the other ones out of the general fund. Well, what the state auditor is saying, or the representative from the state auditor's office is saying, you need to fully pay all the police and fire out of that 202 and just straight dump general fund money into the safety levy 202 as needed. The way we were doing it was there was a little bit of money in that 202 that wasn't getting utilized every year, if that makes sense. And so we weren't fully using every last penny of it. It wasn't that it was the wrong way, it was just a different way to do it, and it was not as efficient. And this was more efficient from what it sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And just, it's not.
and it'll make the trial balance easier to read.
It will.
This
It
will
will.
make it significantly more easy to read. Because before you had to go through the 101, is it 101 and 201?
Yep.
And look at them both and then combine them and try to figure out what these departments were.
Yes, pensions will
And
be
it was very
easier.
messy to look at for budgeting.
My job will be easier, and that's the important thing, so. Yeah.
Did they suggest that you do that in any of the other funds where we are splitting expenses? Because to the
No.
president's comment, that will make that much easier to read, and then I start thinking about all the other areas that we have to sit and do math to add things together to know where our total is.
Yes, I don't, there are some, so during the gap conversion process, there are some funds that are combined for state audit, but I don't believe we are allowed to combine those funds on our end, so.
So So after, when the state auditor said all that, the first thing that is running through my mind is, I'm looking at that carryover in the 201, and it's like, was it 300,000-400,000?
It was.
So the first thing in my mind is, we just gained 300,000-400,000 that we weren't fully utilizing every year. So the immediate strain on safety forces isn't as bad as it.
It was over 500,000.
Okay, so what this potentially means is that we more than likely will be able to make it to the end of this year in the black and not go into red, is what I gathered from that meeting. But that still doesn't mean we shouldn't try to still, you guys had referred to levy, you know, you still need, it might just buy us time to where we actually got time for the levy to start bringing in money without us going into red beforehand. So any other questions for the auditor? Okay, moving on, we have a treasurer's report dated February 2024.
I'll make a motion to accept and file the treasurer's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Need a motion to accept the city officers' reports.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Visitors' input regarding reports of standing / special committees and of city officers. Is there any visitors that would like to come up? Seeing none.
Mr. President, I don't have a report, but you did.
Oh, I'm sorry, I totally skipped you.
It's okay. Public Lands had asked for legislation about the parking lot around Wendy's. So when you go and you pull that description, that's all one description. So I've been talking to the McKeever and Isaac King at McKeever so that they could split that into 2 separate lots, and then we will bring that back at that point. So it will be like a east-west lot on the north side of Wendy's and a north-south lot on the west side of Wendy's.
Yeah, we'd asked to know how those were split. It wasn't even for legislation yet because we didn't know what we were looking at.
Yeah, it's one big lot.
Any other questions for the law director? Okay, consideration of proposed legislation for the first time.
Proposed ordinance 15-2024, it's the creation of an OVI fund. Amending and supplementing ordinance number 50-2023 being the annual appropriations ordinance for 2024 by the creation of an OVI law enforcement fund subparagraph containing a police department category, containing a materials and supplies line item, and a capital outlay line item, and declaring an emergency. Proposed ordinance 16-2024, it's Bucyrus Codified Ordinance 931.09, or the funding of solid waste replacement fund. It's an ordinance amending and supplementing section 931.09 entitled Funding of Solid Waste Replacement Fund of Chapter 931 entitled Garbage and Rubbish, of Title 7 entitled Garbage and Rubbish, of Part 9 entitled Streets, Utilities, and Public Services Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Bucyrus, Ohio. Proposed Resolution 213-2024, it's street closures for cruising with the cops. Authorizing and directing the Public Service Safety Director of the City of Bucyrus, Ohio, to ban all vehicular traffic, including bicycles and skateboards, except authorized emergency personnel for cruising with cops, custom and classic car show on Saturday, June 8th, 2024. Proposed Resolution 214-2024, it's the Bucyrus 5-0 Bike Show. It's from Health and Safety. Authorizing and directing the Service Safety Director on behalf of the City of Bucyrus, Ohio, to ban vehicular traffic, including bicycles, except authorized emergency personnel on Saturday, July 27th, 2024 for the 5-0 Bike Show sponsored by the Bucyrus Police Explorers, Post 229. I can't read that one yet.
Which one?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules of section 111.14 and allow legislation to be brought forth from the council floor for the prepared resolution 215-2024.
Need a second? We got a roll call.
Take a roll call vote this meeting.
Myers?
Yes.
DeShawn?
Yes.
Shireman?
Yes.
Moritz?
Yes.
Sherrick? Hickman?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, so we are bringing forth a piece of legislation for first reading.
Proposed Resolution 215-2024, it's the amendment to the County Solid Waste Management District. It's a resolution adopting the Solid Waste Management Plan budgetary amendment for the Crawford County Solid Waste Management District and declaring an emergency.
Need a motion to accept all these as first readings?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public participation. Any member of the general public may present their input or comments on legislation that's been read for the first time. Seeing none. Consideration proposed legislation for the second time.
Proposed ordinance 12-2024, it's bond requirements for the utility right-of-way. Amending and supplementing section 903.01 entitled Permit Required Emergency Exception for Public Utility under chapter 903 entitled Street Excavations, under Title I entitled Street and Sidewalk Areas, under Part 9 entitled Streets, Utilities, and Public Services Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Bucyrus.
Need a motion to accept that as a second reading.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any member of the general public may present their input or comments on legislation that's been read for a second time. Is there anybody? Seeing none. Consideration of proposed legislation for the final time.
Proposed ordinance 9-2024, it's bond requirements regarding sewer taps. Amending and supplementing subsection D of section 923.17 entitled Initial Sewer Connection Charge, System Access Permit and Fee under chapter 923 entitled General Provisions, under Title V entitled Sewers, under Part 9 entitled Streets, Utilities, and Public Services Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Bucyrus. Proposed ordinance 10-2024, it's the vacation of Jackson Street. Vacating part of Jackson Street being the 166.01 feet in length on the west side and 166.01 feet in length on the east side and 50.02 feet in width beginning at the south end of Jackson Street between in-lot 2390 and part of in-lot 2387 and 50.02 feet in width at north property line of part of outlot 381 being more fully described here and below. Proposed resolution 206-2024, it's the Bratwurst Festival street closures. Authorizing and directing the Public Service Safety Director of the City of Bucyrus, Ohio to ban all vehicular traffic, including bicycles and skateboards, except authorized emergency personnel for the 2024 Bucyrus Bratwurst Festival, according to the schedule set forth herein, further authorizing and directing the Chief of Police to make necessary arrangements for the rerouting of traffic on federal, state, and local highways and roadways. Proposed resolution 208-2024, it's the EMS billing rates. Accepting the EMS service fee rate schedule as presented by the Bucyrus Fire Department and authorizing the implementation of said rates commencing November 1st, 2024.
Need a motion to accept those as a final reading.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public participation. Any member of the general public may present their input or comments on legislation that's been read for the final time.
Mr. President, does that include us?
Yes.
Question?
Yes.
Mention was made by Mrs. DeShawn about cleaning up the captions and shortening some of them, and my question was, would we need to send 213 and 214 back to Health and Safety to be able to shorten them up? If you look at the difference between 206 and 213 and 214, it's a substantial difference in the size of the caption for the same exact function.
So are you concerned with, so 213 and 214 have actually already been modified. So what's in your packet wasn't what has been finally submitted.
Okay,
So we have, Mrs. DeShawn said.
that's what you were talking about.
Yes, we have
My
actually.
apologies, I was reading
Right.
along and not listening as to, she's reading because I had that question to ask.
No, but because we haven't yet brought those, that the final copy of the ordinance has the.
I withdraw my question.
Way to be on top of that, though.
No public participation on the final readings? Seeing none, these are referred back to originating committee. Proposed ordinance 9-2024 back to service, 10-2024 back to plating, 12-2024 back to service, 15-2024 back to finance, 16-2024 back to service, proposed resolution 206-2024 back to health and safety, 208-2024 back to finance, 213-2024 back to health and safety, 214-2024 back to health and safety, 215-2024 referred back to council as a whole. Committee report on pending legislation, service committee.
Service Committee is in favor of proposal ordinance 9-2024, bond requirements for sewer taps, is in favor of proposal ordinance 12-2024, bond requirements for utility rights of ways, and also in favor of proposed ordinance 16-2024, BCO 931-09.
Plating committee.
Proposed ordinance 10-2024, vacation of Jackson Street is favorable.
Finance committee.
Finance Committee is favorable to proposed ordinance 15-2024, the creation of the OVI fund, and Finance is favorable to proposed resolution 208-2024, the EMS billing rates.
Health and safety.
Health and Safety is favorable to proposed resolution 206-2024, Bratwurst Festival street closures. Health and Safety is favorable to proposed resolution 213-2024, street closures for cruising with the cops. And Health and Safety is favorable to proposed resolution 214-2024, Bucyrus 5-0 bike show.
And then council as a whole, I will report is favorable on resolution 215-2024 amendment to County Solid Waste Management District. Further consideration of pending legislation. For the second and third readings of proposed ordinance 15-2024, which is the creation of the OVI fund, do I hear a mention to suspend the rules, waive the readings of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved. Second.
I'll give to Chris.
You get to me today already.
Myers?
Yes.
Moritz?
Yes?
Sherrick?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Me? DeShawn?
Yes.
Shireman?
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 15-2024?
Second.
Myers?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
DeShawn?
Yes.
Shireman?
Yes.
Moritz?
Yes?
Sherrick?
Yes.
Ordinance number 15-2024 is duly adopted. For the second and third reading of proposed resolution 215-2024, which is the amendment to the County Solid Waste Management District, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the readings of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Hickman?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Let me restart. Hickman?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
DeShawn?
Yes.
Shireman?
Yes.
Moritz?
Yes?
Sherrick?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution 215-2024?
So moved.
Second.
Myers?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
DeShawn?
Yes.
Shireman?
Yes.
Moritz?
Yes?
Sherrick?
Yes.
Resolution 215-2024 is duly adopted. Final resolution of ordinance 9-2024, which is bond requirements for sewer taps. Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 9-2024?
Make a motion.
Second.
Moritz?
Yes.
Sherrick?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
DeShawn?
Yes.
Shireman?
Yes.
Ordinance 9-2024 is duly adopted. Ordinance 10-124, vacation of Jackson Street, final reading. Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 10-2024?
Make a motion.
Second.
Moritz?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
DeShawn?
Yes.
Shireman?
Yes.
Sherrick?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Ordinance 10-2024 is duly adopted. Resolution 206-2024, Bratwurst Festival Street closures. Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution 206-2024?
So moved.
Second.
Is it Moritz?
Yeah, it's Moritz, second.
Hickman?
Yes.
Moritz?
Yes.
Sherrick?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
DeShawn?
Yes.
Shireman?
Yes.
Resolution 206-2024 is duly adopted. Resolution 208-2024 EMS billing rates. Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution 208-2024?
So moved.
Second.
Sherrick?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
DeShawn?
Yes.
Shireman?
Yes.
Moritz?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Resolution 208-2024 is duly adopted. Old and unfinished business.
Mr. President, would your email regarding the airport commission be involved or be considered old business or new business?
Probably new, because it just came up.
I'll wait till they ask that question.
Any other old business? Okay, now we're moving on to new business.
Mr. President,
Mr. Myers.
regarding your email about the airport commission, do we need to refer that back to committee?
So when we do those subcommittee appointments, they never really go through committee initially anyway. So I guess I just put it out there. We have found out there's an actual ordinance that says that no elected officials can be on the airport commission. So I was the representative on the airport commission. I was appointed in January. And this must have been unknown for a while because the previous person that was sitting on the airport commission for us was actually an elected person too when they were first put her on the airport commission.
Actually, he waited until January when he got off to get put on.
Okay, that's different than what I was told, but I was told they was put in October of the preceding year. But anyways, upon finding this out, I reached out to Kevin DeTrey and said, hey, I can't be on the airport commission anymore. And so I asked him, I said, do you have any recommendations? Knowing that it's still our appointment and the airport commission itself is gonna have a meeting this week, I believe, and they're gonna maybe come up with some recommendations for us to consider, still knowing that we could still appoint whoever we want. But I just thought they might have a better idea than
That's
us.
what we do at the library, so.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I said, the library sends us a letter and says, hey,
Appoint these people.
there's some appointments that you have opening, and we have a couple of suggestions, so. Also, just kind of on the same topic, I was reading all them other ordinances on the airport commission, and it says, like, for the airport commission to anything, they basically just do recommendations. They really have no power. They can't pass a budget or nothing, and they just do recommendations to council. But it did say in there was wording that those recommendations had to be in writing. I know Mr. Fisher had come up to council a couple of times and had some ideas on things to do for the airport commission, but after reading that ordinance, I feel we need to get back to where the airport commission is actually sending us a letter and putting it in writing so we're following the ordinance and such. So I also discussed that with Mr. Dutray, and he agreed with that needs to be happening, so I don't know where we stood on that thing with the land for the fly-in, but it sounds like that should have been actually a letter sent from the airport commission instead of one of the airport commission members coming up themselves. Yes, Mrs. DeShawn?
Well, and I think with that, and that's under, I believe, the Public Lands and Buildings, that matter was put on hold because I believe a law director's checking on the current leaseholder to find out if they're gonna be planning this fall or what have you.
Right.
But I think we need to start now with what this codified ordinance section says, and that we should be receiving these recommendations in writing, and it says in writing to both council, the mayor, and the service safety director. That's the board of, the airport commission does these recommendations in writing, and then all recommendations submitted to council, the mayor, and the service safety director by the airport commission shall include the written endorsement of the airport manager. So I think with this proposed release of farmland for the fly-in use, I realize I'm not on the Public Lands and Buildings Committee, but I'm feeling that we should start now, and we should have a letter from the airport commission, also signed by, you know, the airport manager.
Yeah, reading that ordinance, it appears as though the airport commission comes up with a suggestion or something in a letter, and then in addition to them voting for it, the airport manager himself has to endorse it before it is therefore brought to us. So the thing with the fly-in farmland, I agree with you. I think that should be included in that. We should make no movement on it now.
And I guess my plan was that
Because we haven't received a letter from the airport commission or the airport manager about that specific issue.
well, and they probably don't realize that we're expecting them to start now doing that. And my plan was at the Public Lands and Buildings Committee this Thursday, I was going to do public participation and bring this very issue up that you've brought up and suggest that, you know, contact be made by the committee.
Yeah, it should maybe just stay in committee until we get a letter from the airport commission and the airport manager's endorsement.
I agree with you.
Or do
but-
you think we need to take it out of committee and then re-refer it?
No,
or-
no, but what I'm saying is, somebody, and I believe it should be the Public Lands and Buildings Committee, should contact the Airport Commission, letting them know, here's a copy of, you know, the Ohio, or the codified ordinance section, and asking them to follow it, and asking them to submit the letter from the Airport Commission, which then also is to be signed, whatever I read there, signed by the airport manager.
Aaron, would you be okay if Miranda sends an email to the airport commission?
I would be beyond okay with Miranda sending an email to the airport commission.
Saying that we have stuff pending in committee that we're not gonna do any action on it yet until they send us a letter and follow the ordinance. And
Could I ask, what is that ordinance number?
Oh, yes, it's chapter 137, Airport Commission, and we're looking at Bucyrus Codified Ordinance, section 137.06. That's where the commission needs to make recommendations in writing. And then the other where it talks about all recommendations need to have the written endorsement of the airport manager. It would appear that that's also under the 137.06.
so Miranda, she'll reach out to the airport commission
Great,
by
thank you.
email.
Thank you, Miranda.
Any other new business?
One other thing, if I may. we've already had discussion on our employee from the water department that was injured Saturday. We were notified as a council that they are accepting donations in the water department office, or the utility office, that will allow his wife to take some time off work to spend with him in the hospital, as well as paying for gas money, lodging, food, all that good stuff. So I just wanted to let the public know that they're also able to come in to the utility office and make some donations towards Mrs. Hewlett's.
And that's being headed up by the Ask Me Union?
Yes, it is. But I just wanted to put that out there, that the members of the public, if they wanted to also contribute, can do that in the utility office.
Yes, Mrs. Shireman?
I am close to the gentleman that was hurt and his wife. And I talked to her on the phone today, and she told me that he can't talk, but he did a hand gesture with her doing this. And she goes, "You want to get up and walk?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he got up and walked today. They taught her how to take all the wires and stuff off of him and gave her permission to walk with him when he wants to walk. And he walked down the hallway today and back to his room, so.
It's gonna be a long road to recovery.
Yes.
And I'm gonna personally donate myself to the family. I will be dropping a check off at the utility office, so.
Yeah.
Do we know who to make the check out to?
Council allowed to elaborate on, I have no idea what happened and what you're even.
Well, I don't wanna, there's HIPAA laws and stuff like that, and I don't wanna even,
But you're asking for donations and everything, and I'm not even sure.
it's a severe traumatic, injury. That's all I'm comfortable saying right now.
Water department, tree, what,
We're not bound by HIPAA, I mean.
We're not bound by
for
HIPAA.
that. We are not.
Not for that.
Not for that.
The gentleman was operating a power saw, you know, like one of them
Circular saw.
circular saws that are handheld, and the saw kicked back. And that's the most I want to say. So,
While working on the water line.
while he was doing a repair on that 8-inch cast iron that's running out there on West Mansfield Street, and it was on Saturday, so he's already coming in on his time off to do work for the city. And
saying a lot of people aren't aware that even happened, I had no idea.
yeah, at first, when I first heard it, I thought it had something to do with the underground directional boring that was being done in town, but it was totally unrelated. It was just an old 100-year-old water line decided to spring a leak.
She also asked me to relay to everybody that has been praying, and I don't know if I can say this, but I am, yell at me later, but Mr. Mayor, I believe you called her and talked to her.
Right.
And she relayed to me to tell the mayor that after he talked to her, she cried because she was so thankful that he called. So keep your prayers.
If I could finish, I think it's sufficient to say, though, that, you know, his workers' comp's gonna take care of all of his medical bills, but I think it's important to point out that she's gotta take time off work now to be with him and to help care for him, and the travel back and forth. So I'm, just urging people that if they feel the need or feel like they can, just to come in and give a little bit towards that.
She came into town today to Galleon to do the paperwork for FMLA, and her boss and them's all given her time to take care of him. So she's going back up tonight to stay at the hospital.
He's gonna be in the hospital for a while, I believe.
Well, they're saying that all his vitals are really good. They're going down a notch on his trach tomorrow. They're feeding him through his nose in a tube because his jaw is wired. So yeah, it's a long way. But he's got a good wife.
And sounds like she wants to be there and take time off, so
Every minute, every minute.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go down there to the utility office and take my checkbook and make a donation myself, so. Any other new business?
Yes, approval of the council rules of procedure.
Oh, well, Vicky, this is your, I'm sorry to almost miss over it. So do you want to bring this up and make a motion to adopt these rules tonight?
Yes. I move, well, now, wait a minute. This is just by voice approval. So with voice approval, I still do a motion? Okay. I move to approve the rules of procedure for Bucyrus City Council. For Bucyrus City Council.
As presented.
Oh, as presented, I'm sorry.
The ones dated March 2024.
Right, March 2024.
I'll second that.
Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
We have one nay. So it is approved. Okay, no more new business. Don't need to excuse anybody for being absent. What do we have for referrals?
Can I bring this up? Mr.
What-
President, can I
what-
bring this up?
I don't know, what is it?
This is my high school diploma. I graduated in '72, and I was told I didn't have enough credits to graduate. So as I'm getting older, I had 3 things on a bucket list. One of them was to get my GED, but I would have had to call the school to get my paperwork from them to do the GED. So I called the school, and upon calling the school, I graduated in '72, that's how many years ago? Only to find out that I did have my diploma, and I didn't graduate with the class, but I could have. So this, I'm pretty proud of this right here. So all them years stopped me from doing, Mr. Gernert probably would have been working in my law firm, you know?
You know the founder of Wendy's, Dave Thomas, did not graduate high school?
Well, I thought all these years I didn't, you know, they told me I was shy, but I wasn't, so I have.
I graduated in 2005 and nobody has asked to see my diploma since I graduated. I'm a little disappointed.
Well, mine gets me a 7% off of my car insurance.
Ms. Sherrick, are you saying anything about my diploma?
No, I'm just enjoying this whole.
Okay. Let's move on to referrals.
We have transfers for water filtration contractual services to finance, appropriations to water distribution contractual services to finance, appropriations for engineer tech personnel services within general fund to finance, and then stray cats or TNR to Health and Safety and Public Lands and Buildings Committee.
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned at 8:43 PM.